Here's something you may or may have not ever noticed on a Subaru. When you hop inside, there's something hidden behind the steering wheel, and you will see there's a lever here, or a paddle with a minus on it, and a paddle over here with a plus on it. And no, it is not your volume controls. Here are your volume controls right here on the steering wheel. But these paddles are called paddle shifters, and they're actually used to control your CVT transmission. I'm going to talk about why that's beneficial to have on your Subaru, and also how to use it in today's video. If you guys are new to my channel, I make Subaru videos just like this each and every week. So if you enjoy content like that, please be sure to click the subscribe button down below. And if you guys learn something new and get value out of this video, please be sure to click the like button. Before we take off here and I show you how this is operated, let's talk about some situations when this would be useful to have control of your gears. So the first situation in which you might like to have control over your throttle response is if you are getting onto an on-ramp and you're trying to merge in front of traffic. So you're getting up onto the on-ramp, you're giving it gas, you feel like you're not getting up to speed or getting in front of somebody, especially maybe you might feel this way if you're driving a 2-liter Impreza or Crosstrek. That's been a common complaint with some people, is that it doesn't have enough passing power or torque to get up to speed. In those situations, you can actually use your paddle shifter to downshift, increase your RPMs, and have a little bit more power to get ahead or get up to speed with traffic. So that's the primary first use that I think most people are going to use it for. And then the second situation that you might be in where you want to control your throttle response is with braking. So whenever you're traveling somewhere, it doesn't necessarily have to be in the mountains, but it could be used for this. If you're going down a hill, maybe there's a long stretch of a hill and you're having to use your brakes a lot, that's causing more strain on those components. It might cause them to wear out more prematurely. Or I know, like when we're traveling from Louisville, Kentucky, going down to Florida for vacation, there's a stretch there in Tennessee where it's a windy highway, but it's all downhill, and we're constantly on our brake pedal. And so that causes a lot of strain. You can actually downshift to use engine braking to help simultaneously slow down the vehicle and cause less strain on your brakes. And then lastly, another situation where you might like to use your paddle shifters for more control is when you're driving in bad weather, like snow. If you are driving in bad weather like snow, maybe you want to turn your traction control off and use the paddle shifters to shift up and down to have control over your throttle response, so you're not finding yourself just spinning out in the snow. So now we've got my GoPro set up. We are going to take a drive, and I'm going to show you guys from my point of view how these paddle shifters actually work in the manual mode. If you look down here on the shift lever, you'll see when you go down into drive, there's an M over here. That's manual mode. So it lights up red on the left side when you're in manual mode, and when you're in regular drive mode, it lights up red on the right side. So we're going to put it in manual mode. And much like a manual transmission vehicle, you're going to want to be cognizant or aware of where your RPMs are at, so that way you know when to shift. I like to shift anywhere around the 3,000 to about 3,500 RPM. So it's going to be right around here on your RPM gauge, because when you are in manual mode, you are going to be required to use this upshift in order to go to the next gear. You don't want to red line on your RPM gauge, because that could cause your engine to seize up, and that would not be a good situation. So we're in first gear right now. Hopefully you guys can see that. We're going to take off here and we're going to go left. We're going to stay on this small road just for a second. I'm going to show you guys how this works. So you see it's revving up, it's not shifting. I have to use this upshift paddle to shift up. So now we're in second. Now we're in third. What's nice though is, unlike a manual transmission, this you do not have to downshift. It'll automatically do it for you. So if we come to a complete stop right here, you see that it has shifted down for us. So now I'm going to take off again, and we are going to shift up when we reach around that 3,000 to 3,500 RPM. So you don't actually have to have it in manual mode to use this. If you want to use the manual shift levers or paddle shifters intermittently, maybe you just want to use it temporarily, you can actually have it in regular drive mode just like this. And let's take off here. when we're driving, let's say we want to use them to shift up or shift down, we can do it on our own. But if we leave it just like this for a few seconds, it will actually automatically shift back to the gear that it should be in. So right now it shifted back to regular drive mode without us having to upshift or downshift. So this is a way that you can use the paddle shifters intermittently, control your throttle response without actually having it in manual mode. So I personally prefer just to keep it in regular drive mode, because that way you don't have to worry about using the paddle shifters to upshift. It will just do it for you when it needs to. So say we are we're going down a hill right now, we want to use the engine braking, we can use this paddle shifter on the left to shift down, and it's actually going to start slowing the vehicle down on its own. I'm not even using the brake right now, so it's slowing the vehicle down just below 20 miles an hour, and it'll automatically sync back up when you give it gas again with the gear that you're supposed to be in. And of course, if you want more control over that and what gear you're in, you can just put it in manual mode and use the paddle shifters to shift up or down into the gear that you want. So these paddle shifters are very easy to use. It's just important to know that when you are in manual mode, you have to rely on the paddles to shift up, and when you're in regular drive mode, you do not have to rely on those. You can also put it in drive or manual mode while you're driving just like this. It doesn't affect anything, so you can switch back and forth without any issues or it messing up anything. Also, I know that I'll probably get people in the comments saying something about this. Even though it shows or displays a gear up here, it's not technically in a gear. That's because this isn't just a regular automatic transmission. This is a CVT transmission, which is a continuously variable transmission that just uses simulated gears to control your throttle response. So it doesn't technically have multiple gears. I'm not going to pretend to know all the engineering behind it. I believe it's just one gear and one continuous system, but it does allow you to shift through these simulated gears. So just a little note on that, because I know I'll get people who are asking about it or correcting me in the comment section below. We'll go up here to a highway on-ramp and I'll show you guys what this is like using the paddle shifters to get up to highway speeds and catch up with the speed and the flow of traffic. Right now I'm in regular drive mode. That's what I prefer to use, and I think that's just the easiest, because that way you don't have to rely on shifting up and down and messing something up on your engine. Because of course, if you're driving in first or second gear and you're going really fast at high RPMs, it's going to cause wear on your engine and it's not going to be a pretty sight. So I'm going to shift down and we shift down to third for just a split second. It shifted back up for me automatically, and now we're up to speed with everybody else here on the highway. So that pretty much wraps it up for today's video. If you guys have questions about the paddle shifters in the CVT transmission, then leave them down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer those for you. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.